What's up, junkies? Welcome back in for another edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Michael Larson, big brother Jared Larson, not around, getting the tail end of the holiday season going. And then we have, of course, as always, Scotty La Panza.
Mike, I hope Jared's doing a good job getting the kids to bed right now, and I hope he's just saving his fire for this weekend. But you know what? Frankly, I think he's trying to duck his 0-5 card on Super Contest in Week 17.
Was it just not pretty? I forgot what all he said.
It was ugly. I had much of the same, so mine was a total bloodbath once again for Week 17. Pretty frustrating, but Jared was on the Vikings -1, Bucks pick'em, Giants 4.5, Bills -1.5, Seahawks 3.5. Seahawks lost by a yard. Bucks, Jameis did the most Jameis thing ever. Pick 6 to end the season for the 30 and 30 club. I'm sure you heard all about it on Twitter today.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Mannion could not get the Vikings over the hump, but that was a pretty close game. I think they were really scrapping it together against those Bears.
Yeah, defensive touchdown got called back, and I think that'd be the difference in the ballgame.
Buffalo Bills last seconds benched all their skill position players, so they were throwing it up to nobody and just pounding the rock with Frank Gore. And then the Giants, it was close. It was looking like it was going to be a cover, and then bad snap led to a touchdown for the Eagles, down 10, and it just went off the rails from there. Me, wasn't much better. I had much of the same with Giants, Bills, Seahawks. Hopped on the Colts again, zigging when zagging at the wrong time for the Colts, and they actually blew up a bunch of teasers this weekend, so I'm very unhappy with Frank Reich and Jacoby Brissett. Thought they'd put a better showing against the Jags. Gardner Minshew, American hero, has just been the bane. I mean, talk about it in the recap, but the Jags have just been a total frustrating team for me all year. Every time I backed them, they lost and got blown out, and every time I bet against them, they somehow ended up covering or winning. So super frustrating. And then Bengals, bye-bye Freddie Kitchens. See you later. Thanks for playing. Love how the takes today he was emotional at the end. I mean, if you thought you were keeping your job after that performance this year and all the stupid things you said on the field and press conferences, just see you later. And now we're at 2 fired coaches so far, inching closer to the 4.5 over-under. I still think you'll see Doug Marrone go. Sounds like Dan Quinn's safe. And then, we'll see who else could be going. Oh, so we have Pat Shermer. We have Freddie Kitchens gone. Neither of those are surprises. Now, does Jason Garrett count as a firing? Because his contract's up. So if he's not retained, does that count?
I feel like yes, because in a sense, if you did a good enough job, they would extend him.
Yeah.
So I feel like in that position, it's like when it's a mutual breakup. Almost. It's not me, it's you. Like, we're just kind of in this crossroad of, like, well, what do you want to do? Like, how are we going to move forward? How are we going to, it's a fork in the road.
If you cut the time in half that you've been dating or you've been married, and that's how long you've been breaking up. So for the past 4 seasons, they've been breaking up with Jason Garrett. It's just been slow and steady. And, he just teased them a little bit by making the playoffs last year and winning a football game. But, now it's bye-bye, see you later.
I agree. It was I will never – that's probably one of my all-time favorite sports moments was us at Westgate watching that game wearing Seahawks shirts, and there were so many Cowboys fans just screaming bloody murder at us whenever the Cowboys would score. Like, yeah, in your face! And we're like, guys, look, we're really not actually Seahawks fans. We just –
take it down a notch, guys. Yeah. But, you get a couple, wine coolers in those Cowboys fans, and they get all fired up. One of the surprising firings I saw today was Chad O'Shea, the OC of the Dolphins, got waxed. Chad O'Shea and Brian Flores have been working together for the last 10 years. So I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, need to read more, but talk about stab in the back. Could you imagine working with someone for 10 years? You go with him to take an offensive coordinator job at another team, and then you get waxed after 1 year. And the offense was humming along by the end of the year. So there's more to that story. I can't wait to hear it. And Dolphins got a lot of other issues going on down there with their top corner getting arrested for battery this morning.
Yes.
Not the way you want to end the season off beating the Pats as 16-point underdogs.
Well, that's what I was going to say is they ended on such a high note. Like everyone's like Flores, like impressed with what he's done as a head coach with this team. I mean, remember people weren't wanting even to play for them like the first 4 weeks of the year.
Yeah. Aqib Talib never showed up.
No, exactly. Like what? But you know, it all raises a question as we get into this coaching carousel of, you know, I think the Panthers and the Browns have already reached out to interview your boy McDaniel, correct?
Yep, McDaniels, yep.
And now that could play out well for the whole Miami firing situation. If McDaniels does leave, you could kind of go back to old New England into Bill's arms, be like, hey, I've been here for you, man. Let's do this thing.
Absolutely right. And then, you know, the other name is the Kansas City's OC, Eric. I'm not going to pronounce his last name right. It starts with a B. And the 49ers defensive coordinator, who looks like, what's his name? Brandon Tierney from the New York metro area.
I got nothing on the DC. I got head coaches and players, but once I start the specialty, you know, coordinator positions in the NFL is such a musical chairs. I can hardly keep up with it.
It's a big boys club.
Yeah, and we talk about it all the time of the boys club that is the NFL. I'm even hearing, with the Giants making the move that they've moved, that they've moved. Vikings could be losing their OC as well, possibly to some other program. Stefanski, yeah. So
he's another one who's a hot name. We'll say, I don't know. What say you on his clout?
I'm not too sure on that, but hey, I mean, Pat Shurmur could come back, or we could promote Kubiak's kid to OC or something like that, and kind of just keep that whole deal, that whole shindig going. Who knows? It'll be interesting. It'll be real interesting. Or another one I saw, real dark horse, Jay Gruden being the OC, reuniting with old Kirk.
Ooh, that'd be good. He's in the boys club, so he's got to get a job somewhere.
Oh, it'll be in Las Vegas.
Ooh, that'd be good. That'd be fun.
2 Grudens on one sideline? I'd lose my mind. I would lose my mind. So, Scott, we won't dive too far into the playoff games because obviously we're going to have our podcast to preview the Saturday and Sunday games. You and I both have to sweat out our teams playing. However, you at least get to have a home game where my team, I almost said my Twins, my Vikings have to travel to New Orleans and play in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, which is going to be electric, to say the least. Everyone's going to lose their mind. Oh, my gosh, the Minneapolis Miracle. So get used to hearing that.
Oh, yeah. And there's going to be a lot of that. Yeah. A lot of myth.
Revenge game.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so actually, you know, everyone's doing the decade challenge on social media. Oh, look at me in 2009, and here I am in 2019 getting ready to go into the new decade. My decade started with Bountygate in 2009 in New Orleans. Vikings should have won the Super Bowl. Still bitter. Now my decade is going to end watching the Vikings lose in New Orleans.
Oh, my goodness.
Life comes full circle.
We're both super down on our teams after the recent showings because I think the Titans do everything that can be exploited against the Patriots. They can just hammer the rock against our weak run defense, and they have a pass rush that can get after Tom Brady with 4 and put him into some uncomfortable positions. So much like you, I'm pretty down on the Patriots, and the money's flooding in on the Titans. I saw it open at 5.5. It's already down to 4.5.
Wow.
Vikings, I'm sure, are going to get, you know, Vegas is going to need the Vikings hard this weekend. I'm really curious to see how Dalvin Cook looks. He's got a couple of weeks off, had a little injury. all the money's going to be on the Saints. They just blew the doors off the Panthers. They've looked great. They're playing at home. The Vikings haven't looked all that great. And you're catching more than a touchdown. So I'm sure that's going to be Vegas's biggest liability this weekend. Money flying in on the Bills opened at 3. It's down to 2.5 from what I see. And that I'm sure is just heavy, sharp money coming in on the Bills. And, we talked about it last week to hop on the Bills early against the Texans. The line opened lower than I thought it was going to open. I thought it was going to open at 4, and I was going to hop all over it. Got a little taste at 3 and a little taste on the money line, but it looks like, the money's coming in on the Bills. And then, the doubters continue on the Eagles, money pouring in on the Seahawks. That's not a trend I want to step in front of right now with Carson Wentz. And
in Philadelphia, too.
In Philly. Rabid fans.
Dog masks are coming out.
Oh, man. That's good. Exactly. But they have so many injuries, so you really need to see where that shakes out later in the week. And so all these teams have injuries that you need to follow. We'll see. We'll see where it comes out at the end of the week. But this is a great slate. I don't understand what the NFL is doing, having both AFC games on Saturday and both NFC games on Sunday. I've never seen that before from them. And I'm sure they have a really good explanation for it, but I'm sure I will understand it.
I was intrigued by that as well. Now, I am happy that I get to sit down at 1 o'clock on Sunday, and if my day turns out to be really crappy, there's ways I can redeem my evening where, I feel like if it was Saturday night game, it'd ruin my whole weekend.
Oh, it's the worst. It's going to ruin my Saturday night. It's going to ruin my Sunday morning. I'm going to be up until like 1 a.m. and then just dejected because we pissed away a first-round bye by losing to the Dolphins, 16-point favorites, and looking absolutely pathetic while doing it because the Dolphins were running one route with their wide receivers, and they decided to not press them at all. So they were running quick slants relentlessly against the Pats, and they just decided not to do anything about it. So I just still don't understand what they were doing. But what are you going to do?
Bar mitzvahs. Scott, what's the biggest surprise to you in this playoff picture, or like what team is the biggest surprise to you?
The Ravens. I was short them going into the season, and I'm eating so much crow on them. They've just completely exceeded all my expectations. Mark Ingram's been Mark Ingram's been just a perfect fit there. The trade for Marcus Peters has panned out perfectly for them. They're daunting defense, an offense that is really tough to figure out. So the Ravens just really did not see this coming going into the year. I saw the 49ers rebounding and got Garoppolo healthy and just a ton of weapons. Pulling in Emmanuel Sanders is awesome, and George Kittle, I think, better than Travis Kelce right now. And then not surprising seeing the Chiefs and the Packers first-round buys. I was short the Saints going into the year, and they've just looked fantastic. Drew Brees looks awesome. I was betting against some of Teddy Bridgewater, ate crow so hard there. And I was short Texans going into the season. I didn't think they'd make the playoffs, but they made it through, and they got a big test against the Bills this weekend. I'm really excited. That's the game I'm most excited to watch this weekend. I know it's in the crappy Texans slot that they always play in the playoffs wild card weekend, the 4:30 Saturday game. But I think that's the best game of the weekend.
Yeah, I will say the 49ers have been a fun team to watch. There was that moment in time where they were a little bit slow halfway through the season. They got Dee Ford coming back that I think could make that defensive line even more scary than what they are. Ravens have been, like you said, Scott, and I know you don't like talking about it, but Lamar's been phenomenal to watch. I'm excited to see what he looks like in the playoffs. I think a Ravens-Chiefs AFC Championship game would bring in a boatload of viewers. And it would kind of be I know you hate hearing this, but kind of the changing of the guard. It was always Peyton.
Yeah.
And Tom, and now it would be Lamar versus Patty Mahomes. And I will say, I think the craziest thing to me from this is the Packers at the 2 seed, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers has really played that well this year, but that D-line and that defense for the Packers is pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's just talking about how they're the worst team in the playoffs and they don't deserve to be there, and they definitely don't deserve the first-round bye. Well, they got it, and now probably the Saints are going to have to go into Lambeau and beat them in Lambeau, in frigid Lambeau. So, I mean, that's going to be a good one. And that's going to be the late Sunday night. That's going to be cold night Sunday night game. It's going to be ugly.
Drew Brees, everyone's going to be freaking out. Drew Brees outside, it's cold.
Yeah, exactly. We were just hearing about it 2 weeks ago, how he hasn't played outdoors, and he's only had 2 outdoor games in 18 weeks. So chew up that firestorm.
You're going to hear all the same storylines, and I love it.
Yeah. Super Bowl odds. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I said if you're short the Pats, hop on the Chiefs, and now that line has corrected itself. But I don't know. I don't know of any long shots. I think of trying to get to the Super Bowl. I definitely wouldn't be Seahawks or Eagles backers or Vikings. It's good to run through Ravens or Chiefs. So I don't think you get a lot of value. Pats are up to plus 1,200. I don't see him winning on the road twice. So I don't even know if I see him winning this weekend. So I don't know. Long shots that I don't think I'm taking any flyers here.
Not circling the wagon, huh?
No, I think they beat the Texans, but then I think they wake up to play the Ravens and they realize they've exceeded expectations, and now it's time to go home.
Time to return to Niagara.
Yeah, but if they're catching more than 7, you know where I'll be backing them.
Mm-hmm. We'll be circling the way. We'll be jumping on tables, but we'll know. We'll enjoy our last few times jumping on those tables.
Exactly.
Well, Scott, I guess that kind of does it. We don't want to dive too far into our playoff predictions.
No.
And we'll have that full pod coming up. Yeah. Talking about Wild Card Weekend, which is always a blast. Always crazy stuff happening.
It's sad going, week 17 closing, end of the Super Contest, end of Circa. Definitely neither went as we wanted to. Got close up in gold and then burned out at the end. Super Contest started out hot and just blew out in the middle of the season. And Circa never really got close. Above 500 in 2 of my 3 entries, and pretty decently near the top, but never really had a shot. So definitely not the season we envisioned, rolling off last season's success, and as we said, back to formula for 2020, and trying to get it right. But yeah, this season generally was pretty much a disaster between Super Contest, fantasy football. It was not the best. I did at least win the Pigskin Junkies inaugural Best Ball Draft.com, which is Draft.com. No more. FanDuel bought them out and will be integrating everything into FanDuel. So no more Draft.com, which is sad, but all those best balls will just be under FanDuel next year. So probably just a little bit better interface.
Yeah, that'll be nice. We'll have to get that. Yeah, we'll get that more. I feel like we kind of threw it together last minute this year. We'll try and get that pool a little bit bigger for next year. So it was a fun regular season. The final game of the regular season really gave us a good taste of postseason ball, where there was a lot on the line. Ball marked down right at the half-yard line. I mean, it was crazy. Crazy weekend in college football. Joe Burrow looks like he's a lock-in for number 1. If you're Cincinnati and you don't draft him, I feel like you got to blow up the franchise. Am I wrong in saying that? Like, the kid's from Ohio. 7 touchdowns in the first half against Oklahoma. 7.
As someone who had the first half under like a dope, that was not fun to watch. That's why I don't bet college.
I got those 2 spreads right in our bowl pick'em. I'm slowly climbing the leaderboard. I got crushed.
I saw you, Micah. You're right there.
I got crushed early. Shout out to the wife of, I was going to say the talent, but Jared's wife at the top of the leaderboard, boys. So
is that Haley at the top?
That is Haley at the top, so don't be embarrassed.
Oh, that's awesome.
But Haley said she'll come on the podcast whenever she She's like, yeah, you let me know when you want me on the podcast, and I'll be there. So she's on fire. But I really made up a lot of lost ground by those 3 2-pointers. I think were the playoff games or 2-pointers. So gained a lot of ground on the field, feeling good about it. We'll see what happens down the stretch here. Got 2 games going on tonight. I like how college is like during bowl season. We'll give you guys. You get Saturday, Sunday, but we get Monday through Friday now. Well, I guess we got Saturdays too, but gonna be fun. Just got tickets to the Outback Bowl.
You got a big day. Yeah, you got a big day on Wednesday, New Year's Day.
Yep.
Work off that hangover with some Minnesota Auburn football, baby.
It's gonna be great. I'm gonna be rowing the boat, saying War Eagle simultaneously. People are gonna hate me because they're gonna be like, pick a side and be like, I know I went to Auburn. Okay, don't kill me. But jeez. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. Well, Scott and Junkies, I meant to announce this too. We are over 100 episodes since we started logging episodes, really. We're probably at 120, 130 overall, but officially have hit our 100 episode mark. So thank you so much for sticking around, listening to us yap about football. Now for 2 seasons, we've continued to grow, and we really appreciate you guys hanging in there. We're ready for the playoffs. We got next year coming up, so please continue to interact with us. We love it. Love to hear your picks. I see all the Twitter interactions. Scott, I know you got the hot fingers, but it's truly a blast. We enjoy it. We enjoy getting to talk back and forth with you guys. So happy New Year to all of you. Hope the decade ends on a high note. And 2020.
How will you be ringing in the New Year, Micah?
So Peyton's working.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Part of me kind of wants to just stay at home, go to bed, set my alarm for 11:55, have some champagne, go back to bed.
Oh, that's crazy talk. Once you go to bed, just go do it. Go through the night.
Just go.
You got to rest up for the Outback Bowl.
Woo! Outback, baby. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it. What about you, Scott? Any New York parties?
No. We will be hosting a couple friends over our house, and I got some sauce cooking right now. We're gonna make some big ziti and have some White Claws.
Duh, because you're
White Claw season.
You're a middle class American man right there.
Oh yeah, that's how you live it up as a married father of 1. That's how you do it.
Some big ziti and White Claws. Well, that's awesome. Well, Scott, Happy New Year to you as well. We'll get the recap pod coming out to you later in this week. Junkies, thank you so much for tuning in, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.